Over at his house, she is complimenting his mother for having a fair skin, and saying she would even believe her to be a teenager. His mother starts blushing and tells her to stop flattering her, while covering her laughter. The Demon King goes on to compliment his sister, telling her she is pretty and much of take after their mother. Giju couldn't believe it turned out like this. His sister asked him where did he meet such a beautiful girl, and his mother also joined in and asked him to tell them. He was starting to panic, thinking he needed a way to get out of this situation. What should he say? They were looking at him with anticipation in their eye, wanting something out of a drama. He tried to focus the energy of the universe for an answer to his dilemma, and the answer came, and he quickly stood up shouting, "Pee puppy!" Kim Giju's secret art. Changing the subject, he ran out of the house shouting he adopted a puppy. Once outside, he asked Rain if he could transform into a smaller form. His egos knew he was desperate, and luckily for him Rain was able to transform into a puppy-sized wolf. When his mom and sister came out, they shouting in delight to see a puppy and said it was so cute. The sister ran up to it and hugged the puppy and asked about his name, and could she name it, but Giju told her his name was Rain. Thinking it was a gift for her, she was delighted and called him the best brother, telling him he was cool for once. The Demon King came from behind and complimented him for using his head, but Giju retorted, "Who do you think's the reason for that?" She stretched and told him instead of resting like she planned, considering his effort, she was willing to talk, and told him that Ball should have secured a suitable location for them. At a nearby cafe, Giju asks if a neighborhood cafe like this really alright to talk in, since he knows of cafes with soundproofing barriers in the tower. She tell him that he doesn't need to worry about that, since the barrier made by Ball is much better than that kind of cheap barrier. Not only will they be unable to hear them, they won't even be able to sense their presence. Elle tells him that this kind of barrier can't be constructed by just anyone. The Demon King says, now the long-awaited QA session is upon us, so what would he like to ask? Giju thinks that he has though of a lot of things to ask, especially the sense of difference that he felt since they met, and how he couldn't sense it properly due to the situations. He asks, is Ball a player? No, he corrects himself and asks, are you human? They stare at each other silently for a moment. The Demon King remarks, is that the first thing you ask? Your senses are impressive. She goes on to tell him why not ask your sword instead of them, which surprises Giju. Lu tells him that he hasn't said anything due to his uncertain memory, but says this guy is a demon. Not only that, he's one of the archdemons whose existences are the embodiment of atrocity. At this moment Ball suddenly gets up from his seat and kneels on the ground, says the almighty king of all demons, he greet the great master who has become the king's master. Which catches our boy off guard. And Lu says humph. The Demon King Ball up laughing out loud at the situation. While rubbing the tears from her eye, she comments this is hilarious. She says, so your current name is Lu, right? To which Lu replied, that's right. Giju, surprised even more, gets up and shouts, wait, you can hear the ego's voices? To which she replies that she can, as well as the holy sword named El and that little kid embedded in his chest. Lu mentions that's nothing strange since Giju also shares his visions with her. Giju thinks, is that so? And she replies, yeah it is. In a panic Giju asks, can you actually read his mind too? She told him she can't, but since that thought was made with the will to deliver it to her, she was able to hear it. She goes on to tell him that it's impossible to read his mind when he's just standing still, even for her, and Lu confirms. Giju, trying to calm down, says to take things one step at a time since it's hard for him to digest all this information flying at him all at once. The Demon King remarks that her disciple seems to be on the stupid side of things, and Lu agrees while the other egos defend their master. She goes on to tell him she will explain it slowly. First of all, she is saying this since there seems to be a misunderstanding, but that one Ball is showing respect to is not Lu, but to you. Lu tells him that the bastard named Ball is one of the ones who betrayed him in the past. The Demon King confirms Lu's statement, saying Ball is one of the ones who instigated chaos when incarcerating the King of Demons. To him, Lu is nothing more than a king of an era, rather he's showing respect to Giju for having someone like that as his subordinate. Lu curses Ball as a fucking bastard, which leaves Giju speechless. Getting back on topic, the Demon King states that Giju must have a lot of questions regarding the demon eye that he wants to ask about. It probably hasn't been long since it's awakened, and even Lu probably won't know much about it. She goes on to tell him that, however, she is actually the one who wants to ask him about it, which puzzles Gidju. She asks, how did you awaken the demonic eye, since it's a symbol of demons after all? Gidju, while shocked, asked, this demonic eye isn't a power that she gave him? Lu reminds him that he told him already, that power isn't something humans can just exchange. Gidju goes on to say that this power was something he had from the beginning, and Elle deduces that the power she gave must have been a catalyst, but the one who manifested the power was Gidju. The Demon King agrees that she never imagined that he would manifest the demonic eye. Lu questions if Gidju is some demon's descendant or something, and Gidju adamantly denies it, saying that his mother is a normal human. Then Lu asks about his father, to which Gidju replies he's not sure. The Demon King clarifies that demonic eye isn't an uncommon ability. Since demons above a certain level has it, but there are special demonic eyes among them, and his purple demonic eye happens to be one of them. Gidju questions, what do you mean by special, and she replies that the color of the demonic eye shows the demon's rank, green is bottom to low rank, red is about mid-rank, and purple is royalty. The highest ranked demons, and the final demonic eye with nothing above it, that is a purple demonic eye. She goes on to say that she can use all the demonic eyes, and Lu calls it ridiculous since even he doesn't recall using all the demonic eyes. She goes on to explain that demons have a single demonic eye, but she is different. Gidju asks her if she is really human. Since demonic eye is a symbol of demons, does that mean she is a demon as well? She says she is a special case, and tells him he might be one of those special cases as well. Without another word, she slowly lifts up her shirt, which puts Gidju in a stupor. While blushing, he turns his head and shouts, wait, what are you doing? Lu comments, so it's like that. He tells Gidju to stop making a fuss and take a look. He slowly peeks between his fingers and sees her midriff, on which a jewel in the shape of a cat is shown. She goes on to say that she received a demon transplant, the other side of Baal. In other words, she is half human and half demon, someone hanging on the boundary. Baal's cat side also has a predation power like Lu, which has clear limits and has many side effects compared to Lu's, but it can devour other demons and absorb them. She didn't expect him to awaken a demonic eye, but from what she can see, he is special. And he is someone who could possibly grant her wish. Gidju asks her what her wish was. And she, while smiling, replies that didn't she tell him before, it's why she put up that disgraceful name of Demon King, to kill the real Demon King. Meanwhile, the Iron Guild's South Korean branch, which was annihilated on the day of establishment. No information was leaked thanks to the association's thorough cleanup, while caused a lot of controversy, but it was laid to rest by the testimony of Lee Seonho. The words of the nation's top player had that much weight to them, and even the Iron Shield's response was unexpectedly calm. He must have had his suspicions, but all he did was give his condolences to the fallen in a press conference. Since the parties involved didn't make much of an issue, the incident was concluded with slight suspicions and sporadic controversy. While the people mourned the loss of life, and Gidju felt his heart feels heavy that casualties couldn't be avoided. As he returned home from the funeral and entered his house, his egos told him that it was not his fault. While he was the one who made the proposal, they all made their own choices. As he was saying he was back, he happened to see the Demon King sitting on the couch watching TV and eating, and he sighed heavily. While stuffing her face, she greeted him saying, "Welcome back, disciple." He remarked that she was really making herself at him, wasn't she? She mumbles some words while eating, and Gidju told her please don't talk with her mouth full, as he headed upstairs. She complained, what else can she do, she has nowhere to sleep, and he asks where have she been living up until now. Thinking back, Gidju in the end didn't get any more details on that day at the cafe. She told him that he didn't have the qualifications to hear this, since he has yet to pass the test on the 50th floor of the tower. He keeps thinking, what qualifications? He asks her where is his sister and mother, and she replies they are eating out with Behemoth, and Yu Yong also took Rain with her. As he stood in front of the mirror while dressing, he comments Taeshik is quite, then suddenly he has an aha moment. While running downstairs and covering himself, he shouts asking if she was looking at everything through his demonic eye. With a sheepish grin she replies that yeah, he has a nice body. He sighs and asks her to please do something about this since he can't even go to the washroom in peace, but she replies that she obviously wouldn't be looking in those situations. She tells him since she doesn't want him to misunderstand, but she's not doing this because she wants to. It was the only way for her to understand the situation while avoiding as much contact with him as possible. He understands, but please do something about it, since there's no need for it right now, right? She asks him is he sure and will not regret it later, while puzzled replies of course. Is there a reason he would regret it? She tells him to break the shared vision, she would need to extract the energy she infused into him, and tells him that while infusing is easy, but the extracting is a different story. While walking up close to him, saying since he also awakened the demonic eye, to take back her influence at this point, she will have to. Then getting on her tippy toes, she gives him a kiss on the lips. In a panic, Giju shouts, "What are you doing?" She starts to tease him saying what's up with his reaction, perhaps this was his first kiss. While Giju remains silent, while covering his mouth with his hands. She is beside herself thinking, is this really, with a face like that? She tells him that in any case, the shared vision has been removed, and his eye should slowly return to its normal color. He won't be losing the demonic eye, but since it was strengthened by her power before, it's now just going back to its rightful color. She also can't hear the ego's voices anymore either. It was fun, but what a shame. And anyway, she is sorry, to think that this was his first kiss, which annoys him to no end, wishing he could just close his eyes and give her a good smack. However, Lu advises him to endure it, since he would lose. She turns and mentions now then, shall we get going, to which he asks where to. To the basement, since Bal has prepared something entertaining for them. When he goes downstairs, he is surprised to buy what he sees saying, is this place really his basement? She tells him that the room has been modified to be bigger on the inside, and there's also an impact nullification barrier installed, and even if they fought there should not be a problem. He understands, even if they fought. Puzzled, he turns to her and asks fight between him and her, and she confirms. Telling him does a master need a reason to spar with her disciple, while powering up she says come at her since she will help him level up. Lu starts to laugh, and Giju tells him to shut up since he knows what she was trying to say. She tells him to be honest, there isn't much she can teach him right now, but it'd be a different story if he passed the 50th floor's test. The 50th floor is the secondary advancement, and it's an especially special floor for unique ability holders. Not only does it strengthen the unique ability itself, there is also a chance to earn a second unique ability, just like his friend. But it's not like there's absolutely nothing she can teach him. While creating her sword, she tells him to bring it on, since she doesn't like explaining with words. Then Giju powers up and charges at her, heading at her in his fastest speed and swings his swords, only to swing at her after image. With her sword pressed against his neck. She remarks something like this while standing behind him, asking what do you think, can you understand? He thinks she's so fast, but Lu tells him she is not as fast as he thinks, since she's matching herself to his physical capabilities. Giju does a back swing, but she is easily able to dodge out of its range without much effort. El advises Giju that he only feels like that because she got into his blind spot, while El is vexed, but she does have extraordinary combat abilities. While materializing a second sword, the Demon King tells Giju that she will drill her combat skills and experience into him. He concentrates and focuses on her, but in a moment she appears right beside him. And asks where was he looking at since she was over here. As he turns to look, she strikes at him with her sword which he barely dodged. She reminds him that Li Xianho and her are like cats and dogs who can't coexist. Her after image is all over the field, while Giju is just barely able to block and dodge in his confined little space. She further tells him that since neither of them will walk away fine if they faced each other, they have been barely keeping the balance, but the existence of him, her successor, and the interference of Iron Shield broke the balance. Giju asks why was she telling him all this now, and she replies that she is just tell it to him straight, since he needs to become stronger than he is now. Since in that promised 1 year, if he doesn't become stronger than Iron Shield, he'll die. As she tells him all this, she starts to power up, unleashing her unique ability Ink Flame. And he meets her by unleashing his death power gained through Lu to confront her onslaught. While Bal on the side uses his barrier skill to avoid the residual damage from their clash. After the clash, the damage to room is automatically repaired, while Giju is lying on the floor dazed. The Demon King stands over him and remarks that his last attack is a lot fiercer in person. as expected of her disciple. Then she tells him that she forgot to mention this earlier, but they are about the same age, so he can speak with her comfortably. He asks her why was she telling him that at a time like this. Meanwhile, inside the gate, a stone block is being pulled along the ground by Rogers. Above him the Lich observes, and then land behind him calling his name. The Lich throws a moldy bread in his directions, and tells him that it was his meal. When it lands on his side, he looks at it, then rushes over and starts to devour it like a hungry beggar. The Lich looks down on him and says someone like him still wants to live, despite deserving to die by having his limbs ripped off. Telling him never forget that this is all thanks to the great master's kindness, and also thanks to his mercy that his wrists were put back together. The Lich gets his whip out, telling Rogers if he understands to get back to work, and gives him a lashing. As Rogers grips the ground to get back up, he swears that he will kill Iron Shield. The Lich thinks that the direction of Rogers' rage has completely shifted. Rather than easily taking his revenge, his master is using Rogers as a pawn for his next revenge. As expected of his great master, he cannot dare to judge neither his intelligence nor his vessel. As he looks at the plans to build a pyramid, even the fact that his master is making Rogers build a building like this must have some deep meaning behind it. As Giju from afar witnesses all this, he comments that looks like things are going well over there, and Lu asks him why was he making him do that. Giju replies that he is just making Rogers suffer, and as he turns to Ball, he asks if what he is doing is going well. He recalls the moment that Ball asked to enter his gate, since there seems to be much to research about it. And the Demon King mentioned that Baal's knowledge in the demonic arts is deep. And he'll definitely be of help to him in some shape or form. He thinks that's what the Demon King said, but that person's kind of uncomfortable to be around. Lu mentions that while he is a traitor, he is very skilled. At this moment Ball comments that is finished, as the magic circle in front of them starts to light up brightly. Giju asked what's finished, and Ball replies that his gate wastes a lot of power. To compare it to an electronic device, it gives off a lot of heat. So he has gathered all the excess mana in one spot to create crystals. As the bright light shines behind Ball, Giju, covering his eyes to avoid the bright light, asks crystals, though that's definitely amazing, but wouldn't it just return the crystals that Brunhard ate? Since even if he resells them, it's not like he's lacking money anymore. Ball answers that he's correct if it was only extracting crystals, but it would only amount to a slight increase in efficiency. But what he's aiming for is something more special, since these are transparent crystals. Crystals are the substance that becomes the material or fuel for various magic tools, and their value changes based on the amount of mana that they contain, which also determines their color. While Giju was looking at the transparent crystal in his hand, comments that this is definitely special, but where would you use it? Elle says that it's weird that she can't sense any mana from it, and Brunhard agrees, saying it feels like it's completely empty. Ball replies that rarity quickly becomes value, as long as it's revealed that it's not a forgery through appraisal, there will be lines of people who want to buy it. When they learn its true value, even billions of one won't be enough. Giju questions its true value, as he started at the transparent crystal in his hand. Ball tells him that he doesn't need to know right now, since he will come to find out when he needed it. Lu in frustration yells for him to just tell them. Unfortunately, Ball is a man of few words. He feels more like a friend of a friend, and doesn't provide any information if he doesn't feel like it. Giju wonders if it's because he succeeded in his experiment of extracting crystals that he seems to be in a good mood lately, and so he heard all kinds of stories from him. Giju questions Ball concerning the matter that the gate is a territory, and Ball confirms, saying that to be exact it's an abandoned territory. So territories are land ruled by someone, and they can be demons or someone else. Giju starts to question if not demons then who else are they talking about, and what reason was the territory abandoned, and further asks why do they appear on Earth, But Ball cuts him off, saying it seems he's spoken for too long. It's not like they wanted to abandon them, but they were just abandoned. There must be territories that weren't abandoned either, and if he wanted to know more, climb the tower. Once he gains new qualifications after he passes the 50th floor, he will tell him more of this story. Sometime later, back in his basement, he is training again with the Demon King. While the Demon King charges at Giju and attacks, he just dodges out of the way and avoids the attacks. She inquires that when a girl like her is coming onto him, for how long was he gonna keep running? He sarcastically remarks wasn't she coming onto him in a different way, and he had no choice but to run when someone like her is. She cuts him off and said he was being too harsh and smirks, saying did she just get rejected? As she appears in front of him and slashes him, with her head being close to his, asks shall we just continue this lesson, to which he replies that he is in her care. She tells him that while death is a powerful skill, it's not a finishing move. What was he gonna do if he can't take down his opponent in one hit, and Lu remarks that's just his basic skill. As their attacks clash, it sends him flying back clashing on the ground. She tells him that his attacks are too simple and sloppy, since he's attacking while only believing in his new stronger power, and did he really think that something like that will work on Iron Shield? Thinking about Iron Shield, rage covers his expression as he charges in for another attack. But suddenly a system notification tells him that his level of assimilation is increasing. Assimilation A, he can now use up to 70% of the ego's stats. As a surge of death power surrounds him, Lu tells him that since assimilation between them has grown, his ability to control death has also grown. Giju wonders what is this feeling. He starts to feel an inexplicable level of fulfillment, and even Lu is puzzled at the reaction. As his eyes turns to purple with the rising power, the Demon King looks at this change and thinks to herself oh shit. She quickly reaches a hand out to him and shouts for him to get his shit together, and manhandles him to the ground. As the impact brought his consciousness back, he asks what happened just now. The Demon King tells him that he almost lost himself, and asks how he felt knowing that he was almost swallowed up by the darkness. Giju questions that darkness, what's up with that Chinibu expression? She tells him it's just as it sounds, an irresistible level of fulfillment probably filled his mind, and it felt as if mere humans were below him. That's how demonic arts are. And it's also the reason why demons are so obsessed with the demonic arts, and Giju was speechless. She tells him to find the player with 100 swords, since he is a player who possesses swords with special abilities. The holy sword Kallian that Iron Shield possesses, as well as the 9 that Rogers had were both given to them by him. She tells him that he has to obtain a holy sword and use it to strengthen L, since his balance is breaking because the power of his demonic art is too strong. Reminding him that balance is what makes him special, and he can't let himself be skewed to one side, and he agrees. While putting her arms around his shoulder, she tells him that she told him before they are the same age. So how long was he gonna keep distancing himself? While nervous he asks, are they really the same age, and she answers according to their Earth age, that is. While he was wondering what Earth age meant, she turns to leave saying to just forget it and for them to go get some food, since she was starting to get hungry from all this exercise. She suddenly asks if his sister and mom was home yet, so he got his phone out from his gate, saying he thinks they mentioned they were going shopping. At that moment his phone started to ring, and it was a call from Huang Jichel, the blacksmith. Thinking that it was the first time he's called him, he wonders what might be going on. As he answered the phone, he didn't hear anything from the other side at first. The Demon King told him that she will be headed up first. On the other side we see blood dripping down the face of the elder, while Giju wondered why the blacksmith wouldn't say anything. As he continues to ask the elder if he can hear him, he heard towards workshop from the other side. In a weak voice the elder told him, please come to the workshop right now, there's no time at this rate, Minsu will, and the phone cut off. Subscribe to the channel for the next part. Thank you for watching, until next time.